In the headlines, 17-year-old Heather shot dead around Rangel community of the local government area of Plateau State. Niger State government says it is not aware of knife airstrike that reportedly killed 6 children and destroyed houses. President Muhammadu Buhari says security agencies not doing enough to tackle insecurity. And on the foreign scene, U.S. satellite identified mass burial site containing about 200 graves near Mariupol. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Updates. I am Martia Umar. Thank you for joining. And now the news in full. A 17-year-old Muhammad Buhari has been shot dead by unknown men around Rangel community of Bassa local government area of Plateau State. And 4 cows were also killed and 5 people injured in the incident. The state chairman of Dang Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, Abdullahi Garba, who confirmed the incident, told Daily Trust that the body of the deceased was recovered by the police. The latest incidents came barely hours after 2 members of the Uyghur ethnic group were killed in a convoy of members representing Jos North, Bassa constituency, Musaga. Garba said Muhammad was attacked when he took his cattle to graze and the gunmen suddenly opened fire on him. ASP Oba Gabriel, the spokesperson of the police in the state, did not respond to an SMS sent to him by our correspondent. And in Niger State, the government has Niger State government has said that it was not aware that people living in Karibi community in Shiroro local government area of the state, where the Nigerian Air Force airstrike reportedly killed 6 children and destroyed houses. And the Commissioner for Local Government Chieftaincy Affairs and Internal Security, Emmanuel Umar, who stated this on Thursday, Mina, the state capital, confirmed that there were ongoing air and ground operations by the military and other security agencies in the state. According to the commissioner, to the best of their knowledge, the state government, there are no civilians residents in these areas for some time due to the infiltrations and activities of the terrorists, which forced locals to seek shelter as IDPs in other parts of the state. The commissioner said although what happened was unfortunate, the state government welcomed the ongoing intensified military operations in neighboring states and in some local government areas in the state aimed at neutralizing bandits and terrorists in the areas. And the President, Muhammadu Buhari, has expressed concern over the prolonged insecurity in the country and how the security agencies are not doing enough despite what has been provided. The president expressed this on Thursday at the National Security meeting held at the State House, Abuja. According to the National Security Advisor, Babagana Monguno, who briefed newsmen after the meeting, said the president expressed sadness over the recent killings and abductions of some Nigerians by terrorists. He wept over the recent attack on the Abuja-Kaduna train, which left some passengers dead and others kidnapped, where he directed the security operative to put an end to such act and secure the release of all abductees across the country. Mungunu said the president was looking into a memo he submitted containing wide-ranging recommendations on the level of security at land borders and within the country, adding that another security meeting could be imminent. And meanwhile, the president at the meeting gave all security agencies marching orders to rescue Nigerians that have been taken into captivity by criminals and bandits. And the president charged it's not limited to victims of the Kaduna train attack, but to all Nigerians that are being kept against their will in several attacks. The other was issued at the National Security meeting, which was shared by the President Muhammadu Buhari at the State House. Kehinde Amodu has more details.
Heads of security agencies thronging in to meet with President Buhari have some good news from the way security threats have been contained in the northeast. But the president is not happy. Several Nigerians have lost their lives, while many more were either abducted or injured despite the progress made. This is because that clear and present danger has now shifted from the northeast to the northwest and north central. So before any other requests or proposals are considered, the president's first charge is the immediate rescue of innocent Nigerians that are being held by different terrorist groups.
Mr. President has directed all the operational and intelligence elements to rescue these innocent people immediately and unhurt. This is the basis on which other issues were discussed. Obviously, the service chiefs, the Chief of Defense Staff, and the service...
To start off, the level of security of the country's land borders must be upgraded.
All of us know that we have problems of infiltration by virtue of the fact that we have a very large economy. It attracts a lot of people from outside, and they come in illegally, not just through the land borders, but also through the maritime borders. Of course, in the case of the maritime borders, a lot of things have been done in the last 1 year to secure the maritime domain. So we want to see how we can replicate that type of effort we put in the maritime domain on our land borders.
The president has expressed sadness at recent incidents across the country in which several Nigerians lost their lives, while many more were either abducted or injured. The onus is therefore on security agencies to ensure that this is not just another condolence message, but a call to rise to the challenge. From State House, Abuja, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
And now to political matters, Nigerians have continued to criticize the cost of expression and the interest of and nomination forms of the All Progressives Congress, APC. But National Publicity Secretary of the party, Felix Moka, explains that there is a rationale behind the decision. He also denied claims that the party has taken a decision on the mode of primaries to be adopted by a section of the media. Moka spoke in an exclusive interview with Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman. Take a look.
Wednesday's NEC meeting of the ruling All Progressives Congress pegged the cost of its nomination and expression of interest forms for a candidate vying for the presidency at 100 million naira, 50 million naira for governorship, 20 million naira for the Senate, and 10 million naira per House of Reps. This has generated negative reactions across the country. Indeed, some aspirants describe the action as empowering the money bags to dominate the party electoral contests.
Some of them who have expressed interest were at the meeting yesterday and were a part of the decision to approve this very fee structure. So, I'm not sure that this is really, such a huge... And in any event, the party, has no statutory allocation to it. And yet the party is in the business of conducting not just the primaries, but also the elections. Exactly where, is the party expected to generate revenue? Is it really by just, going cap in hand begging for money, from those who have political appointments? Or where? So I think we need to be all reasonable. Party business is an expensive business.
The party also took other decisions such as transfer of powers to the National Working Committee, NWC, amongst others. National Publicity Secretary of the party, Felix Moka, says, contrary to media reports, the party is yet to take decision on mode of primaries and zoning.
The presence of that item on our schedule is not in any way a decision that is the mode. The mode of primaries to be used by this party will be decided by the appropriate authority. The zoning arrangement is the same thing. We have not made any decision on zoning. And if and when the party decides to make that decision, we will make it and we will, communicate that outcome to you and the members of the public.
But there have been increasing concerns over the increasing commercialization of electoral contests in Nigeria's polity, with attendant consequences on inclusive participation and excessive monetization of the democratic process. Shapir Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And a governorship aspirant and former director of the Standard Organization of Nigeria, Dr. Paul Angia, has rejected the People's Democratic Party consensus arrangement, and the PDP governorship aspirant, in a statement signed by his media coordinator, Clement Sisa, alleged that the process produced the consensus candidate in Benue State is dishonest and not transparent, lacked merit, not in tandem with the relevant sections of the Electoral Act as amended, and did not reflect the popular will of the people. He therefore called on the leadership of the PDP to adopt a transparent, honest and democratically accepted process on nominating candidates for the 2023 general elections using the guidelines provided by the Electoral Act. And still on political matters, the chieftain of the All Progressive Congress APC in Zamfara State, Abdullahi Shinkafi, has described the call for the constitution of interim national government after 2023 from some quarters as invitation to anarchy, constitutional crisis and political disorder in the country. He was reacting to a statement credited to Afe Babalola, calling for the interim national government after President Muhammadu Buhari's tenure. Here's the report.
The call for an interim national government after President Muhammadu Buhari's tenure in 2023, credited to Afe Babalola, has continued to generate reactions in the country. This latest reaction is coming from a chieftain of All Progressive Congress in Zamfara State, Abdullahi Shinkafi, who called on Nigerians to reject in totality the call for interim national government. He said anyone who is making that call does not mean well for the country and termed it as invitation to anarchy and political disorder.
To call for interim national government is not wishing this country well. This is an invitation to anarchy. This is an invitation to constitutional crisis, and this is an invitation to cause serious political disorder in this country. So I call on each and every respected Nigerian and Nigerian to reject the call for convocation of international government under the special President Muhammadu Buhari administration.
The APC chieftain also called on President Muhammadu Buhari to address the prevailing security challenges currently facing the country. He observed that the attack on the Abuja-Kaduna-bound train was a situation which has never happened in the history of Nigeria, adding that there is need to deploy modern technology to combat insecurity.
So I call on Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief Forces of Nigeria, to also tighten his belt to make sure that he provides security in this country. Because what happened on the Kaduna train attack is something which has not been done throughout the history of Nigeria, even in some African countries.
On the course of obtaining APC expression of interest and nomination forms, the APC chieftain believes it is too high and will deprive young from participating in the process because they cannot afford the cost of the forms.
I call on the national leadership of the party to revisit the cost of sales of form and reduce it to 50%, because this will discourage our young Nigerians, the youth who want to take part in the election, to now start running away from the party, because this shows that it's only the money bags that will hijack the exercise.
Shinkafi, who frowned at those calling for the resignation of President Muhammadu Buhari, also asked all Nigerians to ignore such groups as the president is not incapacitated and urged to allow the president concentrate on providing good governance till 2023.
And now to electoral matters. The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has maintained that the 2023 general election will hold despite the security challenges in the country. And the chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, stated this in Abuja at a public presentation of the 2022 to 2026 strategic plan and the 2023 election project plan. Yakubu explained that the document presented were the third in the series of strategic elections plan since the era of deliberate planning of elections started in 2012. According to INEC boss, the 2023 polls will be governed by the new Electoral Act, which contains provisions that will enhance the capacity and ability of the Commission to better manage the electoral process, while pledging to ensure the safety of electoral personnel and materials. Accredited observers, media practitioners and voters, Yakubu called for the support of all Nigerians to successfully conduct the elections in 2023. You're watching Trust TV News Updates. Coming up shortly, we'll take a look at free feeding in the spirit of Ramadan. This and many more after the break. Do stay with us.
My name is Tope Fashua. We'll be speaking economics, business, finance, sociology, and politics, all with an aim to contribute our best quota to the upliftment of our fatherland, Nigeria. So what do you think is wrong with our fiscal policy in Nigeria?
A lot of things are wrong. First, I think we have issues with our budgetary plan, which serves as the foundation of the fiscal policy. I mean, federal government's budgetary plan.
Is it true that decentralized banking seeks to eliminate central banking, and how?
Well, in theory, decentralized finance is actually designed to have the potential to eliminate central banking, but I would say decentralized finance is or does not currently have the potential to eliminate central banking.
Welcome back. You're still watching the news update on Trust Television. Before the rest of the news, let's take a look at our headlines again. We told you that one 17-year-old Buhari Muhammad was shot dead around Rangel community of Basa local government area of Plateau State. And the Niger State government has said it is not aware people were living in Koreba community in Shiroro local government area of the state, where the Nigerian Air Force airstrikes reportedly killed 6 children and destroyed homes. And moving on, the personnel of Operation Safe Haven, a multi-security task force maintaining peace in Plateau State and some parts of Bauchi, have recovered 517 small arms and light weapons from criminals. The weapons recovered include 274 AK-47 rifles, 1 FN rifle, 2 Beretta rifles, 3 G3, 6 Beretta pistol, 1 Harrisburg pistol, and 1 SMG. Also recovered were locally fabricated weapons comprising 183 rifles, 163 Dane guns, 102 pistols, and 19 SMG. Others include 6 single-barrel guns and 1 pump action. The commander of the operation, who doubles as the General Officer commanding 3 Division, Major General Ibrahim Ali, disclosed this during the handover of the weapons to the North Center Coordinator of the National Center for the Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons, Major General Hamza Baturi, at the headquarters of the operation in Jos, Plateau State.
To mitigate the senseless bloodletting and insecurity occasioned by the proliferation of small arms and light weapons in circulation within our communities and society. The intent of the federal government is to ensure the mopping up of all illicit small arms and light weapons from the Nigerian society, as this would curtail the undue proliferation of small arms and light weapons in the country. As such, the National Center was established to institutionalize small arms and light weapons control at all levels of the polity and to mainstream illicit small arms and light weapons eradication efforts. The National Center also has the mandate of retrieving all recovered illicit small arms and light weapons in the holdings of all arms-bearing security agencies in the country. I therefore urge all members of the public to support the federal government in its effort to eradicate illicit arms in circulation and by extension promote an illicit arms-free society. Operation Safe Haven has continued to record tremendous success in stemming the tide of criminal attacks on communities and individuals in its area of operation.
And a lecturer at the University of Enugu State and the Department of Mass Communication Dr. Chidebere Ezingwa has tasked the government at all levels to take necessary actions to address child malnutrition in Nigeria. In his presentation at a two-day media dialogue organized by United Nations Children Fund, Ezingwa said malnourished children face a bleak future. UNICEF communications specialist Dr. Geoffrey Njoko charged journalists to write data-driven stories on child malnutrition to prompt government to tackle the problem. Also speaking, UNICEF Nutrition Officer Nkiru Ezingwa in a presentation called for concerted effort to ensure delivery of high-impact nutrition intervention to children to grow well and thrive.
If a child is not well fed, that means that several rights of the child have been taken away from the child. A malnourished child will not do well in school, and if the child fails to do well in school, that means that the child's future is affected. He cannot get a good job. And when the child cannot get a good job, the child is condemned to poverty, and that is intergenerational poverty. The child will move from poverty to poverty. So that is why we are here to say that adequate nutrition is also a right of the child, that the child should be well fed, that if a child is well fed, adequately fed, that the child will do well in school, and if the child does well in school, that means that the child will get a good job and the future of the child will be bright.
Concerted efforts to ensure the delivery of high-impact nutrition interventions to mothers, to children at all levels, to ensure that children and women get the much needed nutrition that they need to be able to grow and thrive. And if Nigeria is able to achieve this, it will definitely see a turnaround in the numbers and also ensure that we're able to meet our SDG targets and ensure increased national productivity.
And we are still in the month of Ramadan, which is the 9th month in the Islamic calendar, observed by Muslims worldwide as a period of fasting, prayer, reflection and giving in charity to earn reward from Allah. In order to maximize the reward of this month, an Islamic-based organization, Al-Habibiyya Islamic Society, has been feeding over 2,000 fasting Muslims and non-Muslims since the start of Ramadan. Take a look at the report. The sun is set and Muslims hurry to break their fast at the Al-Habibiyya Mosque in Abuja, the headquarters of the Al-Habibiyya Islamic Society. This faith-based organization feeds over 2,000 people daily in the month of Ramadan, and this has been happening for over 10 years through its food bank project.
Today, alhamdulillah, we shared about 2,000 meals in about 10 minutes. And in addition, we try to make sure we put everything that is necessary together to prepare for the will-be our guests. They are very, very important. And when we pray, we do not eat all the volunteers until after we have served them. And they know that, and we ensure whoever comes in here will go home with food.
The Society's National Chief Imam and Executive Director, Imam Fuad Adeyemi, speaks on the motivation behind the food bank project.
The starting or the evolution of what we call Abia Food Bank itself started in 2004, where we were in the mosque in Wusetu then, before we moved to our permanent site here. Some people came, a family who said she is a widow and that she needed help. They said they're about a widow of 5 family. We contributed to help her that day. Not more than 4 days, another set of people came. They said they are widow, they're about 10. Now we also contributed. Before we know it, another 6 sets came, and I decided that, come on, with the way these things is going, by next year, we have to make it better. We set up a committee. Incidentally, I got a program in US in that time in 2005. So I now saw that there's a place in US where they are feeding people. And I said, so poor people here again, like Nigeria, so when I get back home, this thing is going to be improved. It's going to, the level is going to be raised. And Alhamdulillah, Allah supported us.
This selfless act has also won the organization international recognition.
It will also interest you that in 2012, the US government here, they came, they supported us, and when they saw what we did, they wrote to their home states and they created an award for us. They call it American Ambassador on Humanitarian Services, who are given that. Nobody has ever been given that award before, and after us, they have not given it to anybody.
He said in addition to the daily feeding program, on Salah Day, the society also has another program that feeds the destitute. And on the foreign scene, a U.S. satellite firm says it identified a mass burial site containing about 200 graves near Mariupol, a city Russian forces have been trying to wrest control for 4 weeks. And Maxo said its images showed an expansion of graves that began at the end of March. Local Ukrainian officials accused the Russians of burying Mariupol civilians killed by Russian troops there. Moscow has not yet responded, but Russian troops control most of Mariupol after weeks of bombardment and fighting. But some Ukrainian forces remain in a sprawling steelwork in the city. President Putin has abandoned plans to storm the Azovstal plant and instead told troops to seal it off. And that brings us to the end of the news update at this hour. For more updates, please follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Martia Umar. Thank you for watching and stay tuned.